It's super rare to hear about a new doll in the 16-inch range, so you can imagine my excitement when I discovered the GlamourOz dolls. Not only are they an entirely new series in the 16-inch size, but they're designed and created right here in Australia. Jozef Szekeres is the brainchild behind the GlamourOz dolls. He's actually been in the doll making world for quite a long time. His first dolls were released way back in 2003. I happen to have one. I'm pretty lucky because they're quite hard to find these days. These are entirely made of resin. They were called Elizabet Bizelle and Bizelle. This is one of the very first releases. She's called Dangerous Discovery. She's got a really cool gown and this beautiful long hair. My poor girl, she did lose a couple of fingers along the way. That's not terribly uncommon for the resin dolls, but I'm really happy with her anyway. But recently, in 2020, Jozef Szekeres has created a new line of dolls, which is the GlamourOz dolls. They're kind of like an updated version of those originals from back in 2003. I've got one finally. It's taken me a little while because they are pretty expensive. These dolls go for about $330 each. I know why he charges that much, because they are, very much an artisan product that he's producing in small quantities, and he does need to make a profit. But nonetheless, it's a bit hard to, want to spend that much money to try something completely new. But I'm really excited to see what they're like and how they compare. So I'm about to open her up and find out what she's like. The girl in this box is an updated version of Elizabet Bizelle, like the previous doll I had, but the new version. She's called Secret Garden Path. The interesting thing about these dolls, Jozef Szekeres designed them to be 18 inches tall, but still to fit into that 16-inch 1/4 size range. So even though she's a bit taller, she is still meant to fit all of the same fashions, like the Tonna fashions and the jean fashions, and so be really versatile. So let's see what she's like. The first thing about this doll is the box. It's definitely quite unique and has that glamour effect that I guess he's going with the name. You can see that each of the images on it looks like a fashion design, perhaps from about the 1950s, and some of them do depict, especially I can spot these three, they do depict the fashions that the dolls come in. This one here, in fact, is the Secret Garden Path, the fashion that the doll I'm about to open is in. Although I think it's kind of, it's quite unique. I guess I feel like the box looks a little bit old-fashioned, so I like it, but I don't love it. As I open it up, we've got the certificate. I love that the design he's used for this is actually, she's the redhead, but the same doll as the one I just showed you before, the Dangerous Discovery of those very original dolls. So I love that he's harking back to that with the certificate. You can see that the edition size is there. Mine's number 37 of 375. I'm not sure how I feel about the name GlamourOz Dolls. I think maybe he's gone for just a few too many puns in the names. We've got the Oz from Australia, because that's where we are. We've got the fact that it makes the word gods, and I guess because they're tall, and they tower over them, they're a bit like gods in the fashion doll world. But I feel like maybe it's just a little bit too much. I guess that's, your personal opinion on that. Now, my doll is not brand new, so this is not exactly how you would see the doll if you bought it straight from Jozef. It would be presented much more beautifully than this. But you can see the tray here, which reminds me very much of Integrity Toys dolls, where we have the tray with the accessories in them, and the accessories themselves also really remind me of Integrity Toys dolls. They look gorgeous. It's one of the things I love about Poppy Parker and Fashion Royalty is this really stylish metal jewelry. That's just fabulous. I'm really, really excited to try her jewelry on. With shoes, perhaps not so much. They're totally fine. There's nothing wrong with them, but they're just pretty ordinary fashion doll shoes. And she's also got a little purse, which again is cute. It reminds me of some of the 16-inch Integrity Toys purses. Again, nothing super special, but it's cute. The jewelry, though, I really think is fabulous. She wouldn't come wrapped in all that tissue paper. If she were new, she would be tied in with a ribbon. I have seen one of these dolls new before, and she was like that. That you can see that the person who sold me this doll, she's rewrapped her like that to keep her safe. And we can see her come out. One of the reasons I liked this doll is that
fiery red hair. If you've seen me talk about any other dolls, you'll know that I really love unique hair colors, unique hairstyles. So that fiery red, if you can see, it's about the same color as the nail polish I put on today. It is really super bright. So that's really gorgeous. It's just slightly messy, but again, that's because she was previously owned. She wouldn't come like that if she were straight from the factory. I like that she has eyelashes too. I can see that here. Not all fashion dolls do have, actual eyelashes, so I think that's really nice. Her face, I wasn't quite sure how I felt about the GlamourOz faces in the pictures. They're really pretty. They're nicely sculpted. You can see beautiful colors. They are a bit more cartoony, so it's whether you like that cartoony feel or not, as to whether you're going to love these dolls. I think I can see the passion in it. I'm not sure yet whether I love her, but I definitely think that she's really interesting and has a lot of personality. Let's have a look at what else is in the box here. So she does have a stand, and the stand we can see has the doll logo. I think that's really good. I can't mix that up with any other dolls that I have. It looks like this will just, not quite screw in, but push in. That's got a really nice solid plastic top, and it does telescope up and down, which is really good. I always find it disappointing when the stands don't telescope, because it means you really can't change the doll's shoes. They can't be on the stand if they're barefoot either. The other thing that we can see in here is that, unlike many other fashion dolls, these girls actually come with lots of spare hands. I guess the only other one I can think of that comes with all these spare hands is the Cyberites, and I guess they're a similar price range. They're even more expensive again. So actually that's making her value a little bit higher. She comes with lots of spare hands, and she comes with spare flat feet, which is great because that means that she can wear shoes that are made for flat foot dolls. And again, with that telescoping stand, she'll be able to stand on it correctly. She is right now got her heeled feet on, which we can see there. And one thing I like about her feet, which you don't always see, is that the ankles not only allow you to take the feet on and off, but they have a really great range of movement as well. So I'm really impressed about that. They swivel and they move really well. So here she is fully dressed now, and as predicted, that jewellery is probably my favourite thing about her, other than her fiery red hair, whose colour I still love, and I really think it goes well with the green of her outfit. The jewellery is just fabulous. So many little details. You can see the necklace and earrings she's got there. She's also wearing a ring here. She's one of the first dolls, other than the fashion royalty dolls, who I've seen come with a ring, so I really loved that about her. She's also got a really cool bracelet, but that is hidden. The purse, I probably, to be honest, I think it's missing something. Needs a strap, it needs something. I feel it's just there to be there at the moment. The shoes were better than I expected. I actually really like them now. I realized as I was putting them on that they don't have any buckles. They just slip on. And I think that's a cool design, because the tiny little tonner shoes with the tiny buckles, although they're a great idea, they're just hard to get on. And they end up, being lost or broken as you try to do that. The dress is okay. That's probably as far as I'll go. I like that it's full length on her. I do like the colour against her hair. I'm not a huge fan of the really puffy sleeves, and although overall I think the design is, quite nice, I think it's a pity that it hides the bracelet, because the jewellery is really, as I said to me, quite a centrepiece here. So I think I might see what other clothes she fits, as well as comparing her with some other dolls. Of the well-known 16-inch fashion doll brands, she's definitely the closest to the Integrity Toys 16-inch. You can see her here with most of the main ones. On the far left is a Jean Marshall by Ashton Drake. The second doll along is a Jean Marshall friend from the Integrity Toys line. Then I've obviously got GlamourOz. On the other side, we've got Poppy Parker, who's a fashion teen doll. She's very similar to the FR16. Not exactly the same, but very similar. And then I've got a Tyler Wentworth doll. You can see that the GlamourOz doll, she kind of towers over all of them. But she's not too far off from Poppy Parker. both in size and in style. I do feel like that, I described Elizabeth being a little bit sort of anime, a little bit stylized looking, and I see a similar kind of thing in Poppy Parker, and I think she's going to display well with the Integrity Toys FR16 and the Fashion Teen dolls. But I might also see, I think there's a couple of other less known lines from the 16-inch where she might be a little bit closer. So this group of dolls all have things that are a lot more in common with this new GlamourOz Elizabet Bizelle. So I've popped her beside her, well, I'll call her a sister, but the previous version of Elizabeth by Jozef Szekeres. And you can see that actually they're pretty different. I mean, the faces look quite similar, but due to the size, I don't really think that they go that well together. I was going to say that one looked like a younger sister of the other, but actually I feel like they're like a larger and a smaller version, and they don't really go in the same display. However, the other three dolls I've put here, I think all fit reasonably well with GlamourOz. So the one on the left is a Cyberite. And although she is the smallest of all of them, I think that she's not too far off, and she's got that really stylized makeup style and a slightly larger head that I think goes really well with the GlamourOz. The other two are nearly exactly the same height, and I think can go really well. So the far right here, this is an 18-inch Kitty Collier from Robert Tonner. So she is meant to be the same height, and I actually think that she is exactly the same height as Elizabeth. It's just that her stand is flatter. She comes with, just like a thin metal stand, whereas Elizabeth has a that thick resin stand. So they look pretty much the same, but Kitty Collier obviously has a larger head. She's not meant to be a fashion model. She's meant to be a sort of older teenager type figure, but I think they could display really well together. And the one who's just beside Elizabeth here, I really love her. She is by Fashion Doll Agency, which is a not that well known French doll maker. She's also meant to be 16 inches, but as you can see, she is really quite tall. She's just about as tall as Elizabeth. She maybe has, a little bit more height from her shoes. She's really skinny. She's also got stylized features. She is hand painted, and I think her face is, really beautiful because of that. But I think those two are perhaps the closest and go the best together. Now, I would like to see how Elizabeth looks in a variety of other clothes, because although, as I said, her dress is, quite nice, it doesn't really make her pop. Without her clothes, Elizabeth is shapely and stylish. You can start to see his vision of a fashion model on the catwalk. She has a larger bust than dolls like Tonna or Jean, but it doesn't look oversized and, exaggerated like I have seen in some Asian dolls. Her hips, although skinny, are not, I guess Jean has more exaggerated hips and waistline, whereas Elizabeth's, I think, looks quite nice, look within the bounds of what we could believe. Her legs are probably the thing that is the least realistic in terms of being very long and very skinny. And I don't know, I sort of feel looking at her like this that I wish she did have shorter legs. I can see his vision and what he was going for, and I think that it's really lovely. But at the same time, from a collector's perspective, rather than someone who wants a unique piece to highlight particular fashions, I would like her to look just a tad more realistic. But I do think that overall, it's a great design. This is a Tonna Tyler outfit. I obviously chose it because the red colour would match her hair, and I do think it's really striking on her. The fit is nearly perfect. It was a little bit looser on her than it would have been on a Tyler doll doing it up, but now that she's wearing it, it looks pretty much perfect. This one is Jean Marshall by Ashton Drake, and although it looks quite nice on her, I actually didn't manage to get both the press studs done up, only the top one, so it is open at the side. The fit, nonetheless, is not too bad, and I think that you would find that some Jane Marshall clothes would fit reasonably well, while others wouldn't. It does look shorter on her, but because this outfit is a high-low dress, that doesn't really matter too much. This dress is one of the Sideshow Collectibles gowns made for the newest Robert Tonner RTB 101 body, and it looks really beautiful on her. It is actually quite loose done up at the back, but what I love about it is that it nearly touches the floor. Now, I'm a person who loves floor-length gowns, so I think that it could be a sticking point with me that most dresses are not going to go right to the floor on this doll, but this one does, so that's fabulous. But you might need to pin it in if she's going to wear it for a long time. This dress belongs to a 16-inch Poppy Parker doll, and I really expected this to be a better fit than it is because the bodies really seem quite similar, but unfortunately it's quite a lot too small. I couldn't physically do the belt up, and if you see the back, you'll see that I only managed to get one of the hooks done up. If I'd really fought for it, I might have got the second one done up as well, but that would be the absolute max. So I would say this dress just doesn't fit. Here she is wearing an outfit for the Mod British Birds, the Summers and Fields dolls. This one is probably my favourite. I really love the retro styling. I think it suits that stylized face that these dolls have. This one is made to look like it is a 60s outfit. It's got that bodysuit, the little leather skirt with the attached belt. I've put her in the boots of this as well, although do note that the boots from these dolls' outfits are notorious for falling apart with age. These ones are no different, and you will maybe see a few little black specks on some of the other clothing pieces that have come off the boots, but they're nonetheless really cool, and it highlights the fact that Elizabeth can wear shoes from the outfits of most of the dolls' clothing that she has put on today. This one was probably the best fit of all. These clothes have generally a little bit of stretch, so it goes on quite perfectly and fits like a glove on her, and I really love her in this. To summarise, it's really exciting to have a new doll in this size range. There really aren't that many that come out. Most of them are 12-inch, both play dolls and collectible dolls. So really love that about her. I love that she's Australian. What other positives are there? Well, she's really versatile. She will fit an awful lot of different dolls' outfits, and she fits most of them pretty well, as you can see with this one, but also many of the others. Her accessories are wonderful. I just love the jewellery, but even some of the others surprised me as to how good they were. Like the shoes were a lot better than I had remembered, or I guess than I had first noted. Her hair is beautiful. I love the sculpting. I talked about her body and how it was more realistic than I was expecting, and it really made me feel like it was a real person more so than a Tonner doll. So I love that about her as well. There are things I don't like as much. The face for me is a little bit too stylized, I guess, because she's very realistic overall. I would probably like her face to also have that level of realism. Whereas you can see, compared with the dolls she's standing with, who are much more expensive dolls, to be fair, she just looks more cartoony. So not everybody will agree with me, but I wish she was a little bit more realistic in the face and a little bit less cartoony, but I guess it goes with the feel. And I know this might also be controversial, but I wish she were shorter. I would like her to be that 2 inches shorter. She would display better with the other dolls, and she would fit the clothes a bit better. I'm a person who loves floor-length gowns, and I feel like I need to put Elizabeth into short outfits like she is in now, because if I put her in something long, well, it's going to look like it's a bit too short on her, and I'd like her to be wearing full-length outfits. So that's sort of my small gripe with her. But overall, she's really great quality, and so much better quality than most play dolls. The other thing to broach is the cost. That's just going to be your decision as to whether you think she's worth it. Considering what else is out there, I'm hesitant to say that she's worth the money, but compared with what else you can get, I think that it's fair. I think that she's not overpriced. Okay, let me know whether you want to buy one of these dolls or not.